And now we check in with someone who couldn't wait for the season to start, I'm sure. Kevin Kurz from The Athletic. After 2 games, what can we take away, if anything, good or bad?
Yeah, you don't want to read too much into it, I don't think. Just, 10 months off and training camp in a whole nother state and new systems, new coaching staff. So it wasn't pretty, I don't think, on really either side. Some guys looked better in the second game than they did in the first game. I think that's a good sign. I think the offense top to bottom looked more like a 4-line attack in the second game than the first game. You see a rookie like John Leonard come in and that's a good sign. And, then you have Martin Jones, one good game and one not so good game. So, I want to at least give it a week here. We'll see how they do against St. Louis, which again is maybe one of the top teams in the league, even though they got smoked the other day. Let's see where they are against the Blues here. And then maybe we can make some more big picture evaluations, just in my mind.
Yeah, that first game between the Blues and the Sharks should be good after both teams kind of being a little embarrassed. Obviously, the Blues a little bit more than the Sharks. You got Hurdle, Meyer, Kane off to good starts, obviously, but we just saw Shellman put on waivers after starting game 1. Anything to read into that? Is that just like transactional?
Yeah, I think they just want to – I would guess they just want to move him down to the taxi squad and give maybe somebody else a chance. You've got Handemark down there. You've got Chmelevski. And Chmelevski, interestingly, was with the big group for practice on – I'm losing track of days of the week. 2 days ago, whatever day that was, on Friday in Arizona. So, maybe he gets a look. We'll see. I guess Bob must not have liked that fourth line in the first game, and they didn't really do anything. Marcus Sorensen, I thought, had a good game, but Shellman is a good two-way guy, but he doesn't bring much offensively. He had Marlowe there, that fourth line center spot last night. That line I think was all right, maybe a little bit better than they were in the first game, but it'll be interesting. I think maybe it's just a signal that Bob's going to rotate through some guys, and at the same time, he probably wants to make a point too, and that is there's going to be competition for roster spots, and whoever plays hardest on a nightly basis is going to be in the lineup. And if you play hard for 2 games but not in the third game, well, you might be out for the fourth game. And that's not to say guys weren't playing hard. I think as a team they were, but I don't think there's anything wrong with the coaching staff maybe sending a message early that, especially on those bottom 2 lines, that you're going to have to do something productive if you're going to stay in the lineup.
Have you heard anything more about Šimić? I mean, we know he's the last I've heard anyway, and I'm sure you've heard something newer, but Šimić's supposed to start tomorrow at St. Louis. Is that the plan right now still?
Yeah, we didn't talk to Bob today, but he did say that yesterday that Šimić's supposed to play on Monday. So, we'll see. Erik Karlsson right now is the league leader in ice time with I think it was 29 minutes and 41 seconds per game. So, obviously he wants to get that down. He doesn't want Karlsson playing 30 minutes a night, and Brent Burns the same thing. I think Nijov has done enough to stay in the lineup. Middleton struggled last night. It was the one goal came off of a turnover. Maybe his pass was a little too hot or off the mark to Evander Kane. And then the second goal off the faceoff, the Chychrun goal, I believe it was an icing by Middleton. And it's one of those things that I'm glad I was there to watch it at the game, because he had about 3 guys he could have passed the puck to, and he missed all of them. And it went down the ice for an icing. Something, I don't know if you pick it up on TV or not, but it's a lot easier to pick it up from my vantage point up top. It was a bad pass, and icing comes back down the other way, and it's a goal against. So, those little things are the sorts of mistakes that guys like Middleton can't make if they want to stay in there. But I think Šimić's playing tomorrow, so that should be a boost.
Dylan Gambrell kind of just wasted. I mean, what's going on with this kid, man? I mean, yeah. Leonard comes in and just boom, 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 and I mean, where do you slot him in at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I before the season started, I had one major question for every player, and my question for Gambrell now is his time up here? And it's a valid question, and he starts out training camp playing center on a line with Patrick Marleau. And so, Marleau was going to be in the lineup. You knew right away that Gambrell was put in a position to succeed right away in training camp on a line with Patrick Marleau. Whether that was the third or fourth line, you know, I don't know what you want to call it, but certainly Marleau was going to be in the lineup. You know, and he worked his way down. He was a fourth line wing for one of the scrimmages, and then he was out of the lineup obviously altogether for these first two games. So, you know, Bob talked about Gambrell working on his power. You know, he's kind of slight in stature, Gambrell. He's not the biggest guy. And you know, when at the NHL level, I thought he gets pushed off the puck too easily, and that's not something that you can have, especially in a bottom two, you know, on a bottom line. You want to bring probably a little bit more physicality, and it's not like he's scoring 50 goals a year either. So, yeah, I wonder if his time is up now. You know, he's on a one-way contract, so the team is paying him an NHL salary regardless, and I certainly don't think anyone would claim him if they waived him. So, you know, maybe just keep him around, and if certainly this season with the pandemic still going on, you're probably going to need a whole abundance of players to slot in and play some games every once in a while. And I imagine he is going to play some games, but yeah, disappointing. Second round pick, 2016. I mean, we're 2021 now, so if you're not an NHL regular by this time, you're going to have a tough time breaking through.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like Goldobin 2.0, to be honest. But
yeah, I think Gambrell's got a better attitude and a little bit more drive than Goldobin, but you know, it's tough to play in the NHL, so I hear.
So everybody was coming for Erik Karlsson. You know, I don't know that there's been a more polarizing player on the Sharks.
Yeah.
You know, you've got 98
time here, yeah.
Yeah, well, 98% of people coming after him say, you know, he's lazy, or no. You know, our buddy Shang had an article saying scouts are saying, you know, no pop. He doesn't look motivated. It's the guy's got a rep as a diva a little bit. You know, I'll play when I want to play kind of a thing. But can you take the highest paid NHLer on defense? Can Bugner, how does Bugner send him a message maybe saying, you know what, I want to see more from you?
I don't think he's a guy you send a message to, because you're going to have to sink or swim with him, because you're not going anywhere without him. And, you know.
Well, do you think any of those people on social media have any type of a point, or is it just fans blowing smoke? Yeah,
they have a point. The guy's the highest paid defenseman in the league. Now, I'm not going to bury him after two games here. But, you know, part of the problem with Karlsson the last 2 years is basically the first year he came in, he had to play himself into shape. And that was a little concerning because, you know, you these days you'd like to see a guy come in and be ready to go. And he wasn't. And then we saw him settle in, and he was dominant for about 2 months. You know, last season, I think he again struggled early. He had, maybe on top of not having a good camp, he has the baby come on opening night, so that throws a whole nother monkey wrench into you know, you got to remember there's life stuff going on with a lot of these guys. That's not making an excuse. You know, you're making $11.5 million. You find a way to contribute, and it's not like Karlsson was awful last year. I mean, he still had some nights where he dazzled. You know, maybe, and I remember talking to him at one point a couple of years ago. He even said he's notoriously a slow starter. Now, in a 56-game season, you can't really afford to have the guy get off to a slow start. But again, you know, he's one of those guys. I think let's at least give him a week here before we come up with any major, you know, breakdowns of his game. But you know, Bob said from the start, they need him from the beginning of the year. They didn't have him at the beginning of the year last year. They didn't have enough of him from the beginning of the year last year. And obviously, if this team's going to do anything, he's going to have to lead the way.
All right. And last time I saw, I think you went 10 for 14 on your picks there. How you doing so far?
I did. Yeah, I'm going to do. We're having fun with that. I think you know, you might see some more of that company wide coming up. I'm not sure where that stands, but I wanted to I like that stuff. So I think I'm doing more picks this weekend. So I'll probably go 4 for 14 the next time.
How'd you do this weekend in football?
I didn't touch football this week. No. How did you do?
I didn't do it either.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Kevin. At K Kurz NHL on Twitter, and of course, theathletic.com. Thanks again for joining us, man.
Okay, you got it, AJ. Take care.